While Vietnam has piqued interest of travelers worldwide for quite some time, it can arguably be considered as the cultural delta of Southeast Asia. It's necessary to immerse oneself in the grand culture Vietnam has amassed to truly enrich your travel experience and take back much more than just pictures. And what better place to start that than its capital city of Hanoi? On my first night in Hanoi, I visited the Hon Kim Lake area. Hanoi on a Sunday is like a carnival of physical activities. City's residents take full advantage of closed streets on weekends. Here you can see a group of young people playing the Vietnamese game of duck ball, in other words, foot badminton. Winter is a starkly beautiful season, and when combined with an experience of a new place, it becomes magical. Walking to the lake from Hanoi's French Quarters, located at the southeastern end of the lake, I could easily feel the holiday vibes considering the city was all decked up for the month of Christmas. Taking a stroll further on the street, I saw this small concert happening right by the side of the lake. From the opera house nearby to the orchestra that accompanies the performance of water puppets, and then the local people on the very streets next to this fabled lake, it all felt as if the community here has always been bonding over this. Here, music and dance seem to be celebrating the confluence of folk and contemporary symphonies in a perfect harmony. And then, how can one miss the salsa being performed and practiced on this late 90s hit from Enrique? Weekends on this side of the city seem to be extra special and mesmerizing. So don't miss it when you're in Hanoi. Since we are near the lake, let me tell you some trivia about it. So, Hyun Kem means Lake of the Returned Sword. As legend describes it, and as I recall, an emperor was once given a magical sword which helped him defeat the Chinese Ming dynasty, and in doing so, saw the return of the golden turtle god to the lake, to whom he also returned the sword. Today, the Turtle Tower stands close to the lake in the memory of this legend. The next day started in the Grand Boulevard of the French Quarter. Again, it's the architecture here that's the highlight, with a few specific attractions spread over a couple of kilometers. The houses you see today, which like those of the old quarter, run a gamut of early 20th century European architecture, from elegant neoclassical through to 1930s modernism and Art Deco, with an occasional oriental flourish. Next, I was headed towards Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. It was inaugurated in 1975 and was inspired by Lenin's mausoleum in Russia. The columned exterior is made of grey granite, while the eerie cold inside is constructed from red, black, and grey polished stones. The designers added distinctive Vietnamese architectural styles, such as the sloping roof, to differentiate it from the Russians. This place is a great opportunity to learn about the struggles as well as the uprisings of Vietnamese people during the war-torn years, and how the leader at the time, President Ho, led the country through the sorrow years of Vietnam's history. Not so far away is the Flag Tower of Hanoi, next to which is the Vietnam Military History Museum, which celebrates the Vietnamese victories of the 20th century, first over the French and then the United States. At the tower's base is a courtyard of large-scale war souvenirs, tanks, planes, and helicopters captured from the Americans. And looking like the makings of a giant bonfire, the wreckage of an American B-52 bomber which stands on its nose surrounded by the crumpled wreckage of other planes looks amazing. Opposite Lenin Park, this place is ideal for history buffs looking to know more about the country. After all that extensive walking, let's talk about food, shall we? Though I don't Instagram my food exploits, but no point in being modest about the incredible food here. You can find the healthiest, freshest, and some of the most insanely delicious food on the planet right here. Prepare to roll and dip scrumptious bites with your hands and lose yourself in bowls of noodles that make you swoon. Vietnamese are used to eating to such a high standard that the competition on the sidewalks is fierce. Discovering favorites, whether steaming pho, crunchy banh mi, or smoky bun cha, is itself worth the trip. And when talking food, how can I miss the street vendors who are easily visible in their Vietnamese hat on a bicycle or walking on foot, with their cargo balanced on their shoulders. They sell all kinds of things, thereby forming a colorful part of the street life here. Later in the evenings, street markets are filled with meat barbecue on sticks, for one to enjoy with some chilled beer. Interestingly, two of the more popular beers in the country are named after its most famous cities, which are Hanoi and Saigon. Beer reminds me of how Vietnam celebrated its victory over Cambodia, with large screens in Central District to football chants on side streets. Hanoi was in a mood which one can closely compare to ours during a cricket match of India versus Pakistan. Wanna feel the vibe? Exhilarating, isn't it? And now, let me share another trivia with you. Vietnam, being the second largest producer of coffee in the world with its contribution of Robusta coffee beans, makes it a place I could not recommend enough for people to taste and purchase coffee here. The most iconic of them all, I would say, is the egg coffee, which one must definitely try. Over the following days, I walked around the artsy alleyways of the city, high on spirit of Christmas, with coffee in my right hand after discovering the burgeoning coffee culture out there. I finally was elevated to the Millionaire Club as soon as I had arrived in Hanoi. Though it sounded extravagant at start, the millions surely began to disappear very soon. But then, travel is the only thing you can spend on to make yourself richer with experiences, isn't it? Vietnam in general and Hanoi in particular has undergone the influences of different social standards and values of Confucianism, communism, and some major religions such as Buddhism and Catholicism, which thereby has molded the current day S shaped country. Not to forget that, Hanoians are still much outgoing and willing to give you a hand whenever you ask. Perhaps the difficulty part of the hardship together has made them sincerely regard the tranquil times. On that note, signing off this traveler.